the topic for today is going to be that space where we've got the thought that we're trying to believe, we're working towards believing it, we're practicing it, we're doing all of our things, we're putting our, whether it's writing on the mirror or post-it notes or changing our password or going through our whatever process we have to believe whatever the thought is that we're trying to believe, we're doing all of those things. And now we want to check and see, how often are we in belief? Are we in belief enough? Are we doing this right? So, kind of the way that Whit and I check on this a lot, the way that we're working on it in our own lives, is basically, are you getting the result that you want? And so that's the whole idea. Our coaches tell us that, we tell clients that. How do you know that you're in belief? Well, are you getting the result? Check the result, and you can check your belief. Which makes sense, and you can see, hopefully on here, I'll try to make this as visible as possible. Maybe tip this guy down a little bit, if that helps. We've got this thought, so I started up here with a thought, our T up here, and then basically we're going to have two different feelings, depending on whether we believe. We're going to have one feeling if it comes from belief. I use the subscript there because I'm a math guy. That's how we do things. So I've got the feeling belief or the feeling unbelief. And so based on whatever feeling we're having, that's going to motivate different actions. If we're feeling in belief, then we go to our default because we don't know how to do everything we're trying to do. So we plan, execute, evaluate, adjust, and we do those things committed to continue this process until we get the result that's wanted. On the other side, we take a little different approach. We don't really have belief. I say, oh, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. This is the thought, I'm practicing it. But maybe I don't believe it. Maybe the thought is that I'm enough, that I'm valuable, that I'm already lovable where I am, so I want to take these steps, make this change, seek out this big growth in my life. But when I look at my actions, I find myself maybe avoiding or hiding, procrastinating, resisting the things that I want to start embracing or white knuckling. When I don't have this good belief, I'm trying to take the actions anyway. And so it's just not really panning out. I'm not getting the results that I was looking for. So this result is unwanted. So this is the basic idea of it. None of this is new. This concept of saying, okay, well, based on the result I'm getting, I can look back and I can see if I was in belief or not in belief. That's great, and it works, but it's not always efficient. It's not always quick. Sometimes I don't want to wait until I've gone through this process forever, trying to take the actions, working my way through this thing, doing all of the things that I want to be doing, only to find out, oh, I didn't get the result that I wanted 3 months later, and like, oh no, I wasn't in belief. I wasn't in belief of this thought, and only then do I find out. And so what we want to take a look at, or what I want to offer you today, is a couple of intermediate checks. I'm going to put this back up so I'm not quite so cut off on my head. So I've got check 1, check 2, check 3. Check 3, this is the last one. This is usually the last place you'll see is, did you get the result or not? And that's where you can check for your belief. Check 1 is actually in the feeling, to really get into this feeling. Now, I want to offer two different ways we're going to check on this feeling. One is to really imagine, what if you were in belief, to go there, to go hack the F-line, as we say, in terms of like a meditation visualization type of setup, and really see what does it feel like to be in belief? What would I feel if I were in belief? When I really take myself to that place of believing that this is true, what does it feel like? And so then I can check, is that the same belief I have right now? Is that the belief I'm experiencing, or is it something different? Am I feeling something different? Am I feeling, something over here like fear, anxiety, worry, whatever, versus here, or even maybe over here excited? That's one thing to watch out for. Sometimes you feel excited when you're in unbelief because it's more like a fingers crossed and hoping, I'm excited, maybe it'll happen. Whereas belief is an interesting one because sometimes when you really go there, when you really imagine it and feel what it feels like to be in belief, it's kind of like grounded. You feel kind of secure, or you just got this knowing feeling. If I think about rock climbing, and when I would feel in belief that I was going to climb that, it almost felt uninteresting. I was just doing the things, climbing the climb and going up there, but I would never know that unless I really took the time to go check and find out what does that feeling really feel like. So that's one way to do this check one. The other one is that once you have an idea what it would feel like to be in belief, to actually get feeling reps, to get practice feeling that, knowing not just like, oh yeah, I feel grounded, but like, okay, I can name it, but what does it feel like? What is my heart rate like? How does it feel in my shoulders and my chest? Are my hands sweaty? You know, probably not if I'm feeling grounded. And so I can kind of go through it. Oh yeah, it's calm, my heart rate's slow. I like to think about what expressions am I making? What's my grounded expression? You know, what feeling goes with blue steel? All the different things you can check and you can see so that you can kind of know in advance, am I feeling in belief or not, so that you don't have to wait until you have the result. What's going on, Kathy? Whitney? Just got notified that you're watching me. So good to see you both. So you can check on this belief by A, getting in there and just comparing it to what you feel, but also by feeling it, having repetitions feeling it, then you're going to quickly know when you're not feeling it. And that's the key, is that if you find yourself, oh man, I'm feeling a little off, oh, I need to go check on my belief. Not, I need to do different actions. It's I need to go check on this thought. I need to get back here and make sure I'm believing it. Make sure I'm doing what I need to do to believe it. The next check is in the A line. When you look at your actions, if you find that you're sort of calmly trying stuff, failing, maybe feeling the uncomfortable negative emotion that comes with failing, but not making it mean, oh, I'm never going to get there, or you know, not feeling these like unbelief feelings of unworthiness or being incapable, but you're just sort of like, oh, dang it, you know, like that one didn't work out. I'm experiencing a little rejection. Well, that's part of it, but I'm kind of proud of my rejection because it means I took a big leap and it didn't pan out. If you're kind of in that space, if you see that these are the things that you're doing, then you kind of know you're going okay, versus looking at this stuff, this avoiding, hiding, procrastinating, resisting, white knuckling, this stuff that's like, I just don't know what to do yet, I'm in confusion, I don't know how to do this. We always like to say, if you don't know what to do next, this is a big thing in sports that I was always coached. If you don't know what adjustment to make, rather than getting caught up in, I just don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, look at what you did last. What did you do last? Did you try to hit line last time? Well, then just evaluate that and then adjust that. That's your new plan. That's what you do next. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. We'll find out when we get to this evaluate stage. But if I'm just procrastinating, if I'm just hiding, if I'm just like, oh, don't give me the ball, that's how I know, okay, I'm not in belief. And eventually what's coming is an unwanted result. But I can get that information before I reach the unwanted result. So this is just sort of some like quicker checks, some faster ways to find out, are you operating from belief or not? Now, what if you find out that you're not? What if you check in on this feeling and you're like, uh-oh, I'm feeling unbelief. You check in on your actions and you're like, man, if I was really honest about my actions, I'm acting from unbelief. If you look at your result and you're like, that was not the result I wanted, I'm definitely operating from unbelief, then what you do is you practice. You practice. I was actually just watching a video the other day of Peyton Manning, and he was speaking of a receiver, and he was talking about how great he was and how impressive he was. Harris was the receiver he was talking about, and he said, it was a thing of beauty to watch this guy practice. I was like, oh my gosh, like I already love Peyton Manning, and now to hear even more that he didn't say his performance in the games, how many touchdowns he scored, how many points he could get, how many times he beat the defense. He's like, it was a thing of beauty to watch him practice. And he said that he refused to go against the scout team. He always wanted to go against only the starting corner. He wanted to be defended by the best because he wanted to learn how to play the best. And so this idea, when you get that mindset of practice, and you think about that, the person that inspires you because of their work ethic and what they put in and how they practice, but we want to check on how we're aiming it. So it's great to have that idea of where you're going to practice, how hard you're going to go. What's going on, Karen? But you want to practice not these actions. This isn't the idea here. We're not practicing the A-line. We're going all the way back up here. Everything happens here. And so when we're looking at practicing, when you notice, oh my gosh, I check on any of these 3 checks and I found out I'm not in belief right now, what you want to fix is your belief. Because if you're not in belief and you just try to fix your actions, if you try to go from unbelief and do these things, that is literally what we're calling white knuckling. And it doesn't last. You're headed for a quit. If you're in this white knuckle space, you are headed for an unwanted result. And so that's just sort of the last way I'm going to wrap it up, is that what you want to do is get back into practicing the belief. Make sure you're always looking back towards what thought are you thinking, what's driving this thing. Because this thought, and whether or not you believe it, is what's driving this feeling, driving these actions, and ultimately giving you these results. 3 different places to check it, but 1 place to go look for solutions. Always back into that T-line. Now, I know we've done a lot of videos about how to adjust that T-line, ways to practice these thoughts. I don't mind going through them. If you comment and you're like, I don't know how to practice believing something, I'd be happy to address that. That is a lot of what we do. I mean, that is maybe 30% of the time that we spend in 6 months when we're working with clients, is this concept of how do you intentionally practice believing something new? Because we kind of think we believe what we believe, like, well, how do I change a belief? That's a great question. And it really does require you having someone walk alongside you down that journey of finding new belief, and that's what Whit and I love to do. So, real quick summary, you got your 3 checks. You can check at the F line, you can check at the A line, you can check on your R line. If you find any problems, go back and adjust these thoughts. Make sure you're believing this thought. If you're having a hard time believing the thought, that's when you're going to want to reach out. Get in touch with me and Whit, and let's talk about how to fix that. So that is your Coach Live for today. I hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July and that you're having a great week now. Talk to you guys later. See ya.